there is a particular kind of pleasure that belongs entirely to the open road. Not the pleasure of arriving somewhere, though that is wonderful too, but the pleasure of the drive itself. The way a landscape unfolds around you as you move through it. The way the light changes as the hours pass and the road curves, and the world outside your window becomes something new. America has more extraordinary drives than almost any country on earth, roads that wind through landscapes so beautiful that the journey itself becomes the destination. Today, we are going to take you on the most breathtaking scenic drives in America. The roads that will make you slow down, pull over, and simply look. The drives that will stay with you long after you have returned home. Let's begin on the East Coast, because the East Coast contains one of the most celebrated and most beautiful driving routes in the entire country. The Blue Ridge Parkway. The Blue Ridge Parkway runs for 469 miles through the Appalachian Highlands of Virginia and North Carolina, connecting Shenandoah National Park in the north to Great Smoky Mountains National Park in the south. It is managed entirely by the National Park Service, which means there are no commercial vehicles, no billboards, and no traffic signals for its entire length. It is, in the most complete sense of the phrase, a road built for the pleasure of driving, a road whose only purpose is to allow travelers to experience the beauty of the Blue Ridge Mountains at whatever pace feels right. And the beauty it offers is extraordinary. The parkway follows the ridge line of the Blue Ridge Mountains, the eastern edge of the Appalachian Range, at elevations that range from around 600 feet to nearly 6,000 feet at its highest point. From this elevated position, the views extend outward for miles in every direction, rolling mountain ridges receding into the distance, valleys filling with morning mist, farmland and forest alternating in the middle distance, and the particular blue haze that gives the mountains their name hanging over everything in the early morning and the evening. In spring, the wildflowers along the parkway are extraordinary, rhododendrons and mountain laurel blooming in masses of pink and white along the roadside, azaleas covering the hillsides, trillium and columbine and dozens of other species, appearing in succession from April through June. In summer, the forest is at its fullest and darkest green, the canopy forming a tunnel over the road in many sections, filtering the light into something cool and dappled and beautiful. And in autumn, which comes early to the high elevations of the Blue Ridge, the color display is simply magnificent. The entire length of the parkway transforms into a corridor of red and orange and gold that attracts visitors from across the country and around the world. From the East Coast, let's drive west to a route in the American Midwest that most people have never heard of but that offers some of the most dramatic river scenery in the country. The Great River Road, along the Mississippi River. The Great River Road is not a single highway but a designated scenic route that follows the Mississippi River along both its eastern and western banks for over 3,000 miles, from the river source in northern Minnesota all the way to the Gulf of Mexico and Louisiana. The most dramatic and most beautiful section of this extraordinary route is the stretch through the driftless area, the region of southwestern Wisconsin, southeastern Minnesota, and northeastern Iowa, where the Mississippi flows through a landscape of dramatic bluffs and valleys that was untouched by the last ice age, and therefore retains a ruggedness and a topographic drama that is unlike anything else in the Midwest. Here, the river bluffs rise 300 to 400 feet above the water, forested to their summits, their faces of limestone and sandstone layered in shades of gray and cream and tan. The towns along this stretch of the river, small communities of remarkable character and beauty, many of them established in the 19th century and largely unchanged since, sit tucked between the river and the bluffs in positions of extraordinary picturesque quality. Driving the Great River Road through this section, with the river below you on one side and the bluffs rising above you on the other, the road winding between them, through a landscape of constant beauty and surprise, is one of the great underrated American drives. In autumn, this section of the Great River Road is one of the most spectacular fall foliage drives in the country, the forested bluffs turning vivid red and orange and gold, their reflections doubling in the wide, still river below, and the small towns along the route offer exceptional food, local art, and a quality of hospitality that is specific to this part of the country, warm, unpretentious, genuinely welcoming. Now let's travel to the American West, to a drive that offers some of the most dramatic desert and canyon scenery in the world. Highway 12 in Utah. Highway 12 in Utah runs for approximately 124 miles between the towns of Pangitch and Torrey, and it passes through a landscape of such extraordinary geological variety and beauty that it has been designated an All-American Road, the highest designation available in the American Scenic Byway system. The road passes through or adjacent to 5 different national and state parks: Bryce Canyon National Park, Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument, Capitol Reef National Park, and others. each one offering a completely different geological personality. The most extraordinary section of Highway 12 is the stretch called the Hogback, a narrow ridge of sandstone where the road runs along the very spine of the ridge, with the land falling away steeply on both sides into canyons of extraordinary depth. Driving the Hogback is one of the most viscerally dramatic road experiences available in America. The road is narrow, the drops on either side are precipitous, and the views in every direction are simply overwhelming. To the north, the white domes and cliffs of the Escalante Canyon system. To the south, the layered sandstone formations of the Grand Staircase. Below, in every direction, a landscape of such geological complexity and beauty that it seems impossible that it all exists within the view from a single road. The colors along Highway 12 change constantly as the geological formations change, from the vivid pink and orange of the Bryce Canyon hutus to the deep red of the Capitol Reef sandstone, from the white of the Escalante slickrock to the green of the pine forests that appear at higher elevations. No other drive in America offers this kind of geological variety within such a short distance, and no other drive in America offers views of such consistently overwhelming beauty from beginning to end. Let's travel further west, to a drive that offers something completely different from the desert landscapes of Utah. The Columbia River Highway in Oregon. The historic Columbia River Highway is America's oldest scenic highway, completed in 1922, and it runs for approximately 70 miles, along the south bank of the Columbia River Gorge in Oregon, following the river through a landscape of extraordinary drama and beauty. The Columbia River Gorge is the only sea-level passage through the Cascade Mountain Range, and the result is a landscape where the river has carved a gorge of extraordinary depth and width through the mountains, with basalt cliffs rising hundreds of feet above the water on both sides. The highway was designed by a visionary engineer who believed that a road through landscape this beautiful should itself be a work of art, and he built it accordingly. The road follows the contours of the gorge with extraordinary sensitivity, rising and falling with the terrain, passing through tunnels blasted through basalt rock, crossing bridges of remarkable engineering and beauty, and providing viewpoints at every significant point, where the landscape opens up to reveal something extraordinary. The Vista House, a rotunda of stone and glass built on Crown Point, a promontory that juts into the gorge 330 feet above the river, is one of the most dramatically positioned buildings in America, and the view from its observation deck, looking east up the gorge toward the distant mountains, is extraordinary. But the most extraordinary feature of the historic Columbia River Highway is its waterfalls. In a stretch of approximately 30 miles, the highway passes more than a dozen significant waterfalls, fed by the wet climate of the western Cascades and the height of the basalt cliffs above the river. Multnomah Falls, at 620 feet, is the tallest waterfall in Oregon and the second tallest in the United States, and it is visible from the highway, its two tiers dropping in a white curtain against the dark basalt cliff behind it. Now let's drive to a road that is unlike any other in America, a road that climbs to elevations so extreme that the landscape around it bears almost no resemblance to anything on Earth at lower altitudes. Trail Ridge Road in Rocky Mountain National Park, Colorado. Trail Ridge Road runs for 48 miles through Rocky Mountain National Park, and for 11 miles of its length, travels above the treeline at elevations of over 12,000 feet. At its highest point, 12,183 feet, it is the highest continuously paved road in the United States. Up here, the landscape is the alpine tundra, a world of low-growing plants, scattered rocks, and a sky of such intense blue that it seems almost dark. The air is thin, the wind is constant, and the views, in every direction, to the limits of the eye, are of mountain ranges stretching away to every horizon, their peaks snow-covered for most of the year. The wildlife above the treeline on Trail Ridge Road is extraordinary. Elk move across the tundra in the early morning, their breath visible in the cold air. Marmots sit on rocks beside the road, watching traffic with complete indifference. Picas, small, round relatives of the rabbit, adapted perfectly to life at high altitude, dart between rocks collecting grasses for their winter hay piles. And at certain times of year, bighorn sheep move along the road in groups, their sure-footedness on the rocky terrain, both extraordinary and slightly alarming to watch. Trail Ridge Road is only open from late May to mid-October, closed by snow for the rest of the year, and the experience of driving it in its open season is one of the most extraordinary available to a road traveler anywhere in America. There is something genuinely humbling about being at that altitude, in that landscape, under that sky, something that reminds you, very directly, that the mountain does not care about the road, or the car, or the schedule. It was here before all of those things, and it will be here long after. And finally, let's drive to a road that offers the most dramatic coastal scenery on the East Coast, a drive that combines ocean views, historic lighthouses, and the particular beauty of the New England coast. Route 1 along the Maine coast. Maine's Route 1 runs along the coast of Maine for over 200 miles, from the New Hampshire border in the south to the Canadian border in the north, and it offers a coastal driving experience that is completely unlike anything on the warmer, more developed coast further south. This is a coast of granite and spruce, and cold, clear water, a coast where the ocean feels genuinely wild and powerful, where the tides rise and fall by 15 feet or more, and where the fishing villages and working harbors that line the route have been there for centuries and look very much as they always have. The light on the Maine coast has a particular quality, clear and sharp and slightly cool, that is different from the warm light of the south and the west. It picks out the detail of the granite shoreline, the textures of the spruce forests, the weathered shingles of the fishing villages with an exactness that makes everything look slightly more real than usual. And the islands, the hundreds of islands that dot the Maine coast, visible from the road and from the ferry crossings, add a dimension of depth and mystery to the seascape that is completely distinctive. In summer, the Maine coast is green and bright and full of life. Lobster boats working the offshore waters, the harbors busy with fishing activity, the roadside stands selling lobster and blueberries and corn. In autumn, the colors of the coastal forests add another dimension of beauty, the maples turning vivid red and orange against the dark green of the spruce, the granite shoreline visible beneath the thinning canopy, the ocean gray and powerful as the season turns. These drives, the Blue Ridge Parkway, the Great River Road, Highway 12 in Utah, the historic Columbia River Highway, Trail Ridge Road, and the Maine Coast Route 1, are 6 of the most breathtaking scenic drives in America. Each one offers something that no other drive can offer. Each one shows you a version of this country that is genuinely extraordinary, and each one reminds you, in the most direct and immediate way possible, that the road, when it passes through the right landscape, is one of the great pleasures of being alive.